Hi, welcome to Chamber Connection. I'm Mary Hodson, President of the Chamber of Commerce and Tourism here in Hutchinson, Minnesota. I'm so glad to be back in the studio. I hope you missed me as much as I missed you. And today we're going to start the year off perfectly with my guest today, Sheila Murphy, who happens to be the chair of our Chamber Board. Welcome.
Thank you.
Nice to have you here. Let's just give people a little bit of background information because you have lots of different titles these days, right? So tell everybody what your job is.
I am the Mccloud County Administrator.
What does that mean?
So as administrator, I work in the government center in Glencoe, typically, but we have facilities in Hutchinson. So we have the fairgrounds, environmental services that are in Hutchinson. And then in Glencoe, we have the government center, the courthouse, and our sheriff's office.
Okay.
I am the administrator for the department heads and the county board. So I oversee the department head group, and then I serve the county board.
Okay. So kind of like the superintendent in a school district?
Sure, yeah. It's like Sheila Vanderheiden of Mccloud County. No, yeah, a little similar, sure.
Okay. It helps people get a context, right? Because most people understand where the superintendent comes from, and that's, I know what Matt Yannick, our city administrator, says. I'm kind of like the superintendent. So I'm this overarching, but you have a board that you report to.
Yes.
Okay.
And then we have elected officials as well. So I'm not their supervisor, but I work alongside of the county attorney, the county sheriff, auditor, treasurer, and recorder.
Okay.
And then all of the county board is, of course, elected.
Okay.
The commissioners each have a district, and we serve the county. So we manage the county services, and we are in all of our cities working along. Matt Yannick and I have a city and county administrator group. We just met yesterday.
Okay.
And we work with all of the cities, townships. It's a good arrangement. It works well.
Somebody who was a commissioner told me once the county kind of provides all the services of things that people need. They usually are solving a problem or a need in the community.
Correct. So a lot of our obligations are statutory obligations. They're requirements.
Okay.
We have health and human services. So we serve a lot of the population in different capacities there with mental health, nutrition, child protection, many different right. units. I can't name them all, of course. The sheriff's office, law enforcement, and we have some of the cities where we serve the main law enforcement for, so Silver Lake and Plato, Biskie, and then public works, so the highways and road construction, environmental services. In Hutchinson, we have the household hazardous waste facility, recycling, planning and zoning for the county.
There's a lot. And I think that people don't always understand that.
No.
Sometime we should just have you come and talk just about the county stuff, just to help people understand it a little bit better. Because I think that there's a lot of perceptions out there, but people don't always, oh, well, it's the county, right? They always say those things.
Sure.
It's like when they say, oh, city. And that drives me a little bit bonkers because they don't really understand what goes into the work behind the scenes.
Correct. And we work closely with all of our cities. So coming here with Matt for Hutchinson would probably be a great idea.
Yeah, good. But we're here today to talk about the chamber. You are the chair. You've been part of the chamber for a long time. You've been part of the Made in Mccloud. You've been part of Think Local. You've helped us with golf tournaments and annual events, things like that. And now you've been the treasurer, the chair-elect, and here you are in the big seat.
Yeah, it has been a long time. I don't know how many years.
Yeah. Basically, since almost the time that I met you, you've been involved in some way, shape, or form.
I really enjoy it.
Yeah. Why are you involved in the chamber? Why is it important for you to be involved?
I was thinking about that, and I don't know how I became involved. I would think that I wanted to help, but I don't know how it all started, besides you and other people just really encouraging relationships and community service. So community service is very important to me. And I think that you have to choose things that you can commit to. So I try and make sure that I narrow it down a bit, Don't join every effort. And you also need to not be exclusive.
Mm-hmm.
So we talk about that a lot. And I want to make sure that everyone finds something that they enjoy doing. It's better to, I tell my kids, pick your chores, pick your jobs. It's always better to pick something you enjoy doing rather than having someone tell you what to do and not being passionate about it. And I really enjoy the activities that we do in the chamber. The relationships are probably the most important to me.
Yeah.
Just knowing that you can help and be there for people when needed.
Yeah. I tell people a lot, and I'm sure that our audience has heard me say this before, have your network and know your network before you need your network.
It's a good point.
Right? So for me to know who our county commissioners are, to know who you are at the county level, at the city level, and at the state level, it's really important for me to be able to go and say, hey, so-and-so. And they go, hey, Mary, how are you? And I go, great, can you help me? Versus going, hi, I'm Mary. You might not know me, and I need something, right? It's always easier to do that. So now you are the chair, and we are so excited to have you as the chair of the Chamber and Tourism this year. There's a lot happening, and I just wanted to touch base because our membership has grown this past year, and people often are surprised about that because it's been the year or two going into 3 of COVID, but membership continues to rise.
I'm not surprised about that. People are looking for value right now. Where should they invest their dollars to help support their business? And the chamber helps with that, absolutely, in Hutchinson. You have made sure that the chamber in Hutchinson works with other chambers in our communities throughout the state, getting yourself educated at the national level, carrying out efforts that are valuable to our members, and you are always learning.
Yeah.
That is helpful. We encourage board members to make sure that we encourage having board members who want to be there, that are out in the community learning about what the needs are. And you've continued to work through our board to do that, and it works.
Yeah.
It's helping our businesses.
So we can have 9 to 12 board members, and you are absolutely right. We work to make sure that we have people at the table, if you will, who can help represent other businesses. We can't have 325 businesses at the table, but what are they thinking? What are they hearing? What are they experiencing? Which has been really important these last couple of years. And I'll say that I think our businesses have done a really good job overall of managing the changes. When COVID kind of first hit, right, there were changes coming every day. I mean, you couldn't go a day without an update or two just because there was so much. And so many of them just did what they had to do to keep their doors open. So I'm really proud of them.
Small Business Saturday is a really good representation of how the businesses come together, that they find the value in their membership and in the community. They want to be there, they want to be involved.
Yeah.
There were hundreds of people around town even just downtown that day, but it is the whole town.
Yeah.
And our board members want to be there. It's something we all look forward to. It's just one good example of a benefit of being a chamber member.
And the board, as well as the ambassadors, put up $3,500 total. We grew that to over $6,000 when we went out to buy gift cards from different businesses because they were so grateful that they give back as well. And so I think my total was almost 7,000 when we came down to it and we started adding it all up. That's pretty significant to grow and to double those dollars literally for our community is an enticement to come. And people were spending money left and right. They weren't just looking for us this year.
Right.
Yeah.
It was really good to see.
And that's part of the Think Local committee. And you've been part of that before when it was even Bring It Home. And so Think Local has been a really important piece of what the chamber does as well.
I have Mary's voice in my head every week, at least, when it says, get your gas in town. So fill up your car before you leave Hutchinson and bring your kid to that hockey tournament.
Yep.
There's those little things that everyone can do to help build the economy in our community.
Yeah.
even when you can't be here every day, or like myself, I have to drive to Glencoe for work. I grew up in Glencoe, but I've lived in Hutchinson, I think, since 1999, aging myself a little bit. But I have 2 children. Aiden's 18, and he's at the University of Minnesota. Reggie's 11 and is in every sport possible. So we have to leave town a lot.
Yep.
But we do easily have a focus on Think Local by the influence of the chamber.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So if that's something maybe you're new here and you haven't heard that information before you go on a vacation and you're like, oh, I'm going to need some groceries. Well, can you pack a cooler and get your groceries here? If you're going to the kids' tournament, can you stop and get your snacks and get your gas and go to Liquor Hutch before you leave town? I mean, we joke, but it's true, right? And so those are things that are just little snippets of what you can do. Before you swipe over and say, yes, add to cart, is it an option that you can get locally? And many times we hear great stories about people who ordered something online and it didn't fit, it didn't work. You don't have the customer service to return it easily or answer questions, and many times you can get that here. So thank you for doing that as well.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about February 4th.
Yeah. We have our annual event coming up.
Yeah, we do. So February 4th is our annual event, and our bylaws say that we have to have a gathering of our membership. So we also use this as an opportunity to do our community awards, and you will get to present both the Business Person of the Year and the Volunteer of the Year awards for 2021, because we give them for what they've been doing, right? Not this year. So Business Person of the Year,
Jay Malone.
Jay Malone of Jay Malone Motors. And Volunteer of the Year, you may know him.
Paul Wright.
Paul Wright.
Yes.
He happens to be a commissioner, but his nomination letter was really more about what he does for the ag community, the kids at the high school, FFA, 4-H. And Jay, of course, has just been a really generous person in our community. And he said one day to me, he goes, this is really an honor, but we don't do this for the award. And I'm like, nobody who deserves the award does it for the award.
Right.
If you're doing it for the award, you're not genuine, you're not authentic, and that's not a good reason to try to do anything, right? So then we partner with the Hutchinson JCs, and they're going to give the Young Person of the Year and Teacher of the Year award. So Teacher of the Year is Jason Olson, who's at Hutchinson High School, and he also is the director of all of the stage performances. So he does the fall play or musical, the one-act play, and if there's a spring production as well. And then we know very well the young person or the young leader of the year.
Ashley Gabbert.
Ashley
the
Gabbert.
Chamber's own.
Yep. We knew her when Ashley is at Ridgewater, the Ridgewater Foundation, and she just does so much for them, much more than just the foundation. And of course they love her over there, as they should, just like we loved her at the chamber. So we're excited to be able to present those. But so much is happening that evening because we have the murder mystery.
Yes, murder mystery dinner.
Yes. So it's the Hollywood murder mystery, so people can come dressed up or they can come business casual, because I tell everybody it's a no judgment zone. Because not everybody wants to dress up. So just come business cash if you want, right? Plenty of people will do that. I know there's plenty of people who will also be dressing up.
Maybe we are.
Maybe we are. We might be. We'll just, you have to come to find out. But we have the Murder Mystery Company coming in, and they are actually going to do the murder mystery piece of it. And it's based in a Hollywood mansion. That's why it's Hollywood Murder Mystery, right? And they engage, and so it's interactive that evening at the tables. So,
and we'll be at the Crow River Winery.
Crow River Winery. And if you're really interested in going, you need to let us know as soon as you see this, because we are starting to send our numbers over. But we're really excited. And last year, we were not live. Last year, I guess live in person. We were live, but we were on the computer screen.
Zoom. correct?
Yes, we did a big, huge Zoom. And it went really well, and we had fun, and all of our board members helped us deliver meals all over town. Remember that? Well, gosh, it was great. And I was getting text messages from people before I even got back to the office. So when we went and picked them up from the caterer, literally I hadn't even driven all the way back to the office yet. And I was getting messages, the food is so good, we're excited for this. And it went really well, but there is something to be said to be in person.
People were very supportive last year and throughout the pandemic.
Yes.
And the Chamber Board has been innovative alongside Mary and the other staff. So it's been a good experience, an eye-opener for things like the Arts and Crafts Festival that didn't get to happen for a year. And it was back this last fall, and it was super fun, and it was beautiful, and there were a lot of people there, besides the huge storm that blew away a lot of stuff. Setup evening.
Yeah.
But you did a great job of...
Yep, we were able to, we had a warning because of course we work very closely with the Hutchinson Police Department. And so we had a warning that this could be happening, would very likely be happening because they work directly with the National Weather Service. So you get a little bit more honed in information than you do maybe from an app on your phone. And we lost, I think, three or four tents. And lo and behold, tents showed up magically. People who were lending extra tents, vendors come with extra tents because they've seen this happen in the past to them. Yeah, there was a really bad storm that totally wiped out a 3-day show. They had the first day in, and the last 2 days were actually canceled because it literally destroyed 90% of the tents and a lot of product. So they had already been through that earlier in the year. But and we'll be back again this year.
Yes.
So, and that's along with the Taste of Hutchinson that the ambassadors do over on First Avenue. And those applications for arts and crafts, in case you know somebody who is picked up a craft through COVID, or maybe they've always had one, but you've never mentioned to them about the Arts and Crafts Show, send them our way. Applications are already out on explorehutchinson.com, and you can't really miss the big icon for Arts and Crafts Festival at the very top. I mean, really, you can't. It's a big, huge art palette. So we're really excited about that. But that also means that all of our events are back on live, and we are progressing and moving forward with all of those.
Right. After a really big responsibility and scare with the vaccine and mask mandate for businesses, not politically speaking whatsoever about COVID-19 or requirements. However, it just has been a really long past few weeks for them trying to prepare for that.
Yep.
And then the change of that not going through, we're just trying to pivot. And our event could have changed a lot. It, however, is not going to. We'll, of course, respect distancing and making sure it's a safe place for people to come. But
we already have a preparedness plan in place. And we'll continue to do that because that is the right thing for us to do. I mean, it's mandated, but it is really the right thing to do to let people know what we're doing to make sure that they are safe in the environment that we live in. Period. End stop. Hard stop. So that means we also have Dairy Day, we have the golf tournament, we'll still be doing Farm Fatigue, and then back to the Small Business Saturday, we'll still be continuing to do that as well.
It's good to be back in.
It's a happy dance, right? So some of the things that we're also looking at are maybe some webinars to help businesses. And you probably don't even know this yet. So we're working on some webinars that will help our businesses. So we're working on setting up one on succession planning because there's a couple different ways that you would need succession planning because you're planning on leaving, retiring, moving on if you own a business, but also we have emergency situations where maybe it was unplanned that there needs to be a plan in place. And I tell people all the time that business people get into business because their love of their product or their service, not necessarily go to business school, learn how to do all the back end things, and then go find a business to have.
Right.
right? And so we want to help them understand what are some of the things that they can do to protect themselves, their business, and their family. So we're working on that. We're really excited about that. And we know that we're also going to be very on top of what's happening in the legislation. Well, that was easy for Mary to say. In the legislation, they have a very short session this year, and it starts at the very end of January. Session priorities is on the 31st, and they just go through to the end of April, beginning of May. But there's one piece in there that we're really, really interested in, and that is the unemployment insurance repayment to the fund. And there are dollars available for the state to choose to refund that fund without it trickling down to businesses. And that's what we want to avoid, is trickling down to the businesses, because we're looking at like a 14% increase, a special tax of 14% after they put on another 3%. And that's really detrimental to our businesses. So we'll be watching that pretty close, and also just hoping to support our members through that and give them the information so they can reach out to their legislators, because we don't want to get political. We don't want to get involved in all of that, although sometimes we're kind of dragged into that if there's something really important for our businesses. But we do have legislators who are supporting our businesses tooth and nail all the way. So we're really lucky and fortunate that way. So those are some of the things that will be coming up.
That also shows the other side of the chamber, where it's not just supporting the everyone get together and fluffy, happy stuff. That's a good example. Also, when Highway 15 construction happened, the chamber did a lot of work in supporting our local businesses, helping connect with grant funding for updated entrances through the back during the closure. There are a lot of different functions of the chamber that some people don't see.
Right.
But you can go to the website.
Absolutely.
Or you can call or stop by and see Mary and learn about them pretty easily.
So, that's a really good point. When you were saying that, I'm like, that feels like it was 3 or 4 years ago already when we were talking about Highway 15, and then all of a sudden the story wasn't Highway 15 being redone. Right. And so I think that finding the silver lining and finding that spray paint can of silver, we're going to line that sucker and say we were fortunate that COVID came when it did, because it stopped us from having 2 closures, because that would have been devastating. COVID and the project, both in themselves, was very, very difficult for businesses. But if they'd had to do it twice, that would have been potentially the end of a lot more businesses than we lost. We're really fortunate. So another great thing about Hutchinson is that there's always lots of chatter about what's coming, what's next, right? And some of it's real.
Yeah.
Some of it's not. I hate to tell you this, some of it's just rumor. We rumor busted last week. Somebody thought that we were getting a new coffee shop in town. No, Litchfield is though. For those people who are wondering if you were hearing the same rumors we were. So we're really happy for Litchfield, but we have so much happening, so much development happening here in Hutchinson, just along Main Street itself. We have businesses and buildings that are getting new ownership. We have a lot of renovation that's happening. So it's really easy to see those things happening, but a lot of times you don't see the businesses that are adding and they just have a small space. So there's a new business in our building. There's new businesses that are taking over locations over on Highway 7. And we're expecting some down on the south side of Hutchinson as well. So we are not even close to not having a heartbeat in our community. In fact, it's increased.
You see traffic even picking up a bit. In the evening,
Yep.
Especially in the southern part of town where a lot of the larger businesses are.
Yep.
I've definitely noticed more people are out and accessing the resources that are just right here in Hutchinson.
Yeah. Now that you said that, when you said resources, we worked together with several different entities a couple of years ago and created the Mccloud County Family Resource Guide. and it is actually on your website under the Health and Human Services Department. And so if you're wondering about what resources are available in our county, you can get that PDF, and it is an exhaustive list of anything from A to Z that you could possibly need to know about in our community, and then some. Because you don't see what you're not looking for.
Right.
And sometimes when you're in a situation, all of a sudden you might need some extra support or need some resources that you didn't previously need. That's a great opportunity to go find that. So that was part of SWIFT, part of the chamber, lots of different people coming together to work on that list. And like I said, it is an exhaustive list that is more information than you can ever imagine in one community.
That's great.
Yeah. And you were asking me about leadership before we started here. And so Leadership Institute is going very well. We're going to have 5 projects this year, 5 project groups. So that's going very well. And we're really excited because we have a large class this year. We have 27 in the class. And we already have a waiting list for this next year. So if people are interested in the Hutchinson Leadership Institute, they need to let me know right away. We expect that to be ready June 1st for the application for the next year.
Great.
Whew. Well, that's a lot of information in a short period of time, my friend.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. There's one more thing, though, that we haven't talked about.
What is that?
We have a new grandma.
We do have a new grandma.
Mary is
Yeah.
a grandma within the past few days or week.
It's 8 days. She's 1 week and 1 day today. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, super exciting. And for those of you who are watching and know our personal story, it's really nice to have something positive in our life. And she is beautiful. She looks a lot like our son. She has our daughter-in-law's little lips, and she's been a really good baby for them. So
now Mary and Kevin Hodson are grandma and grandpa.
Yep, we are. That's fun.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
It's very exciting.
You just don't know until you know. And people can give a lot of lip service to the joy of being a grandparent and watching your own children have their children, but until you experience it, there's just we need to make up a new word for it just because it's so fabulous and it's so unique. So
well,
thanks.
It's fun because you sent me a picture and I didn't think the baby was due or coming yet. And I go, wait a second, that face that you're making in that
Back
picture.
up the Yep.
Definitely a grandma.
Yeah.
And it was so exciting to see you that happy because you've had a lot in
Yep,
the last
we
couple
have.
of years, and we're all very happy for you.
Thank
so
you.
Congrats.
Thank you so much. So if you want to talk to the grandma, or if you want to learn more about what we have available in Hutchinson at the Chamber, if you want to find out about a business, you can go to explorehutchinson.com and you can learn more about our community calendar. We have hot deals on there. We have job postings, and there are a lot of job postings these days. You can also learn about volunteer opportunities from several different organizations that are involved with the Chamber. You can learn about our events and our programs, and you can probably find Sheila's face somewhere on there as well.
Probably.
Yes, probably. So thank you so much for your time. I know that you're busy, very, very busy, and I appreciate that you made the time to come here today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So give us a call at 587-5252, or you can go to explorehutchinson.com and learn more about what we're doing and how you can be involved. And until next month, I hope that you have a happy and safe new year.